Okay, real talk. You just got your first paycheck that isn't going straight to rent and food. What do you actually do with the extra money? Everyone tells you something different. Your uncle says build an emergency fund first. Don't touch a dime of investing until you've got a cushion. Your cousin who's into stocks says invest now because time in the market beats timing the market. And both of them sound completely convincing when they're talking. That's the trap. They're both right and both wrong because they're only telling you half the story. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what order to do things in with real numbers, not just vibes. Let's start with defining terms because I think people throw around emergency fund without really knowing what it means. Fair. An emergency fund is cash sitting somewhere boring and accessible that exists purely to cover unexpected expenses, job loss, medical bills, car repairs, a broken laptop you need for work. It is not for vacations. It is not for a sale on a new phone. It's insurance you pay yourself. And why can't that insurance just be your investment account? If stocks go up over time, why not treat that as your safety net too? Because markets don't care about your timeline. Say your car engine dies in the same month the stock market drops 15%. If your only money is in investments, you're forced to sell at the worst possible time just to get cash. You lock in a real loss to cover a temporary problem. So the emergency fund's job isn't to make you money. Right. Its job is to make sure you never have to sell an investment at a bad time and you never have to swipe a credit card at 20–25% interest just to survive a rough month. Let's talk numbers on that credit card point, because I don't think people realize how brutal it actually is. Say you put $1,000 of emergency expenses on a credit card at 24% interest, and you can only afford to pay $50 a month. You're looking at over 2 years to pay it off, and you'll pay more than $200 in interest on top of the original $1,000. That's money that just evaporates for nothing because you didn't have cash ready. Meanwhile, if you'd had that $1,000 sitting in a high-yield savings account, you'd actually earned some interest on it instead of paying interest. That gap between earning 4 or 5% and paying 24%, that's the entire argument for having a buffer. Okay, so that's the case for saving first. Now steelman the investing first argument, because it's not a dumb position either. Not dumb at all. It comes down to compounding. Say 2 people. One starts investing $200 a month at age 22 and stops completely at age 30, never adding another dollar. The other waits until 30 to start and then invests $200 a month every month until age 60. Who ends up with more? The person who started at 22 and stopped at 30 ends up with more money at 60, even though they only put in a fraction of the total contributions. That's the power of compounding over a longer runway. Every year you delay investing is a year of growth you can never get back. So the investing crowd is saying, don't let a few extra months of sitting in cash cost you years of compounding down the line. Exactly, and they've got a real point, because cash sitting in a regular checking account is quietly losing value to inflation every single day. If inflation is running at 3% and your checking account pays you nothing, you're losing purchasing power just by holding cash. So both sides are right about the thing they're focused on, and wrong about ignoring the other thing. That's the whole video in one sentence. You don't have to choose a side. You need a sequence. Let's build that sequence step by step. What's step 1? Step 1, before touching investments at all, build a small starter emergency fund, $500 to $1,000, or the equivalent in your local currency. This isn't the full safety net. It's just enough to absorb a flat tire, a vet bill, a broken phone screen without reaching for a credit card. Why not build the whole 6 months first before doing anything else? Because building a full 6 months can take a year or more for a lot of people, and if you wait that entire time to start investing, you lose a huge chunk of compounding time. The starter fund is a compromise, enough protection to stop debt without delaying your investing runway too long. Okay, step 2. Step 2, if your employer offers any kind of retirement match, take it immediately, even before finishing your emergency fund. If your company matches 50 cents on the dollar up to a certain percentage of your salary, and you're not contributing enough to get that full match, you are leaving free, guaranteed money on the table. Guaranteed being the key word. Nothing else in finance is guaranteed like an employer match. Stocks aren't guaranteed to go up next year. A match, if you qualify for it, is an instant risk-free return. Always grab it first. Step 3? Step 3, now go back and finish the job on your emergency fund. Build it up from that starter amount to the full 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. Rent, utilities, groceries, insurance, minimum debt payments. Add those up and multiply by 3 to 6. Why the range? Why not just a flat number for everyone? Because risk tolerance and job stability are different for everyone. If you're in a stable job, salaried, low layoff risk, 3 months is probably fine. If you're freelance, commission-based, or in an industry that has regular layoffs, you want closer to 6 months, sometimes more. What about someone who's self-employed, running their own content or product business? For self-employed folks, income is naturally unpredictable, so leaning towards 6 months, even 9 in some cases, gives you room to survive a slow quarter without panicking or pulling money out of investments. Where should this money physically sit? Not under your mattress and not in the stock market. A high-yield savings account is the standard answer because it's liquid, meaning you can access it in a day or two, and it earns some interest while it waits. You want boring and stable, not exciting and volatile. Boring on purpose again. Every time. The whole point of this money is that it's always there. If it's in something that can drop 20% in a bad month, it's not actually functioning as an emergency fund anymore. It's just another investment with extra steps. Okay, step 4, the finish line. Step 4, once your full emergency fund is built, now you go all in on investing. Retirement accounts, index funds, whatever your long-term strategy looks like. At this point, you're investing money you genuinely won't need to touch, so market drops don't panic you because your bills are covered no matter what happens to your portfolio that month. That's actually the psychological piece people underrate. Having the cushion changes how you behave as an investor. Massively. People without an emergency fund panic sell during downturns because they might actually need that money soon. People with a solid cushion can ride out a crash because they know their rent is covered regardless. The emergency fund doesn't just protect your bills, it protects your investing behavior. Let's hit some common mistakes people make with this whole process. Mistake 1, treating it as all or nothing. Waiting to invest a single dollar until the emergency fund is 100% complete. That can cost you a year or more of compounding for no real reason, when a small starter fund would have covered the actual risk. Mistake 2, investing the emergency fund itself to try to make it grow faster. Putting your safety net in stocks defeats the entire purpose, because now it can lose value at exactly the moment you need it most. Mistake 3, skipping the employer match to build savings faster. That match is often the single highest return you'll ever get on your money. Don't delay it for cash sitting in a savings account earning a fraction of that. Mistake 4, never revisiting the number. Your expenses change. Your rent goes up, you have a kid, your emergency fund target should grow with your life, not stay frozen at whatever number you calculated 3 years ago. Let's do a real-world example to tie this together. Say someone makes $3,000 a month, no employer match available, essential expenses are $2,000 a month. Step 1, they save $500 to $1,000 as a starter fund, maybe over 1 to 2 months of aggressive saving. Step 2, no match to worry about here, so they skip straight to Step 3. Step 3, they keep building until they hit $6,000 to $12,000, 3 to 6 months of that $2,000 expense number. Step 4, once that's fully funded, every extra dollar goes into investing, index funds, retirement accounts, whatever fits their goals. And if they had an employer match available? Then right after that starter fund in step 1, they'd contribute enough to capture the full match before finishing the emergency fund, then come back and top off the fund afterward. So it's less emergency fund versus investing and more like a relay race with a specific order of runners. That's exactly it. Buffer first, match second, full fund third, aggressive investing fourth. Skip a step or do them out of order and you either end up in debt during a crisis or you leave years of compounding on the table. Last question. What about people who say just invest everything because historically the market always goes up over the long run? They're right about the long run. Over 20-30 years, markets have historically trended upward. But long-term doesn't help you the week your fridge breaks or you lose your job. Without cash sitting ready, you're forced to sell at whatever price the market happens to be that day, good or bad, and that's how people lock in losses they never needed to take. So the emergency fund is really what lets your investments stay untouched and actually compound the way they're supposed to. That's the whole relationship in one line. The emergency fund isn't competing with your investments, it's protecting them. All right, let's wrap it. Bottom line for anyone watching this. Build a small starter emergency fund first, $500 to $1,000. Grab any employer match immediately. That's free money. Finish building your full 3 to 6 month emergency fund in a high-yield savings account. Then invest aggressively with the rest, knowing your safety net is already covering you. Boring order, but it's the one that keeps you protected and growing at the same time. Every single time.